this week's Torah portion, we come to the conclusion of the dramatic story of Joseph and his brothers. Let me give you a little recap though. When they came first to Egypt to buy food, he accused them of being spies. They ended up going back to Jacob, but not before they realized that the money that they had officially spent on the food was back in their sacks. And Joseph had kept one of the brothers, Shimon, as a prisoner until they could come back and verify their story that they had a younger brother, Benjamin, by bringing Benjamin to Joseph. They bring Benjamin, he then accused them of stealing his magical and famous goblet. And then tells them, now you can all go back except for Benjamin. They realized what that would do to their father Jacob. The thought of losing Benjamin, the only other son of Rachel, would certainly bring him to his grave. They were wondering what happened here. What went wrong? Why are all these things happening to us? All we wanted to do was buy some food. How often does one person get blamed and accused of being so many things in such a short period of time? How much bad mazel can you have? And the truth of the matter is, they got their answer with two simple words. Yosef turned to them at the point where he can no longer keep his emotions to himself and revealed, Ani Yosef, I am Joseph. At that moment, everything became clear. And this is true with the story of the Jewish people. It says that when Mashiach comes, finally we will say, this is why it all happened. We live in a story of exile of thousands of years that mimic the story of Joseph's brothers. We're sold into slavery. We're being accused of being thieves. Where nothing seems certain and everything seems as though it's going to fall away at the seams. And then in two words, Ani Hashem, we will have a clarity to the whole story. I'd like to make a second point. At that moment, when Joseph told his brothers, I'm going to keep Benjamin, the worst nightmare that you hopefully were trying to avoid. I'm going to keep him here eternally and you guys go. There was no solution at hand. They must have imagined there's nothing we can do. If only we had... No, there's nothing we can do to the Viceroy of Egypt. And at that moment, when they thought it is all gone, when everything is going to just crumble before them, in one moment, everything turned around. And it's not because of anything they did, but it's because Joseph said two words, I am Joseph. And at that moment, all salvation came to be. And that's the second lesson. Even in our darkest moments, throughout our lives, when we feel crippled and crushed, and there's no answer, and we feel that there's nothing that we could do in a short time or even a longer time. There's no way we could come up with the money. There's no way we can redo the pain and the suffering and the anguish we caused to our loved ones. And we think that all is lost. Know from the story of Joseph that in one moment, salvation can come about. So the story of Joseph is amazing. First of all, when you're in doubt about life, you may be able to know the answer in a split second, and the solution to your problem could come about as quickly as well. So, amidst the times that we're living with, especially for Jews around the world and in Israel, we don't understand why it's happening. We can't fathom for what purpose. But there'll be a time when God says, Ani Hashem, I am the Lord, and we'll understand everything. And then secondly, we'll understand and appreciate that our salvation can come in a moment, and not necessarily because it's dependent upon us, but because Hashem provides it for us. May we have clarity, and may salvation come upon us very quickly.